welcome to Stitch and Stir. This is our 5th episode. Thank you for watching. I'm Emmy.
And I'm Samantha.
And we are drinking Mules out of the traditional copper cup. Mm-hmm. I don't know do you know what the purpose of a copper cup is?
It keeps it colder, I thought.
Maybe. But it's a whiskey mule. Mm-hmm. So on this beautiful Sunday morning, we are drinking whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So,
gingery.
Oh yeah, it's good. Tell us about your sweater that you're wearing, because you just finished that,
I did.
Right?
So at our last show, I was knitting this. It's the Fukuro pullover. Modification, I made the body a lot longer, but I'm very pleased with it. So the yarn is Dye Project for the belly and the collarway, and then this is the Fancy Tiger June Grass.
I like it. What's the gauge on it? I mean, is it pretty loose gauge?
So it is a pretty loose gauge. It's a DK yarn, and I think I knit it on 8s or 9s.
Ooh, I really want to make one. I've loved that pattern, and I really want to do like a really loose gauge linen version for summer.
Ooh, that would be beautiful.
But I don't know. I have a lot of dream knitting projects right now, and my queue is getting larger and larger, so you'll see me in that when I'm like 60 years old, maybe.
You have the problem that I do where your eyes knit faster than your hands.
And my wallet knits faster than my hands, too. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, now new sweater quantity. Yeah. I can do it. Yeah.
What are you wearing?
So I'm wearing the Willow sweater. This is by Pam Allen. I can stand up, too, so you can see the whole cable-y details. I knit this last winter and spring. It's from her book that came out last winter, The Plain and Simple, and that's all designs using Quince & Co. Owl, and so that's like a kind of heavy worsted, almost Aran weight yarn, and I used Brooklyn Tweed Shelter for this one, and it is so cozy, and I think at this gauge it was really nice, and Brooklyn Tweed Shelter would work really well as a substitute for that, and I just really like that it's like cozy and
good ease,
a ton of ease. I think I have 12 inches of ease on this one, and I love it. I probably would want 12 inches of ease on every sweater I have.
Did you make any modifications?
No, I knit it exactly how the pattern said. I might have made it just like a little bit longer, but I do that for everything I knit. So just because I feel like I have a pretty long torso, and I really, really hate having sweaters that don't go down to at least like where my jeans are. Or like I don't want to feel like I have to pull it down over my bum. Yeah.
So you've got some whips in your hand. What are you currently working
on? I am so close to finishing my Brunswick tee by Greene, which just recently came out. I like literally only need ribbing on it, and I'm in the ribbing. This one's a really cool tee pattern. Well, I guess I need the ribbing at the top too, but I really like the shaping on the sleeves.
She has great shaping. I've done a few Greene sweaters, and I'm always impressed how it's not just a raglan.
Yeah.
They fit well, they sit on your shoulders well.
It's like almost it's a raglan but a sleeve cap at the same time, and it's really cool. Just the way, I don't even know if I can show that really well, but the way that the
Is there short rows?
Go. No.
Yeah, that's impressive. What yarn is this? It's
this
very
one
pretty.
Is the Hedgehog sock in Salty Tails, and I bought this yarn a really long time ago, so like when I recently have looked at the Salty Tails, it looks a little different, but and then I have like a one-of-a-kind skein of a Sweet Georgia that I bought. It was like a special skein that they dyed for Stash and Corvallis, and I thought, I really want to make this from Stash yarn, like my Stash, not the store yarn. But so I found those, and they worked perfect together. So that'll be done soon.
How long are the sleeves? Are you going to make them any longer?
No, they're just short sleeves, so I really just have to do the little ribbing around the bottom of it.
Awesome. You're going to finish so soon.
I know, right? I don't know, maybe. I did go to, there's only like one time at work where I can knit, and it's these meetings that I go to about once a month, and I was working on it the last meeting I went to, and there is a knitter there that I've talked to about knitting and helped her with her knitting and stuff, and so she was asking me about it, and I was like, oh, well, I'm supposed to have it done by the time our next meeting happens, so I'll wear it then. So I really need to get it done in the next week, because that meeting is on October 30th, so Emily, you can see me in this, hopefully.
It's great. I also have some deadline knitting as my whip.
I already missed the deadline on that, but...
Same. I've kind of had this for a long time. Because it's a scarf and it was just kind of hard, but it's the Woolfolk Fletta, and it's really hard to tell.
Oh, yeah.
But it makes this, it's a boucle yarn. You can see all the texture in there. And it creates this kind of chenille looking fabric, which is gross looking, but it's so soft.
I don't think it's gross.
No, I think it's kind of gross looking.
Really... Well, I've seen people use it for, like, color work, and I'm like, okay, that's really interesting, and I think, like, more texture is really coming into style. But it is. I grabbed it and I'm like, oh dear, it's so soft.
So I still have another 20 inches maybe on it, but I'm busting it out.
Yeah, that'll look really good. It will feel good wrapped around too. That's
and
cool.
then the other whip I have is a breathing space sweater. I changed the gauge, so it's going to be DK, and I'm pretty close. I'm just on the bottom. But the short rows were so fun.
That one is really fun, the short row part.
And I'm doing high contrast. It's really just a stash. I had this Patton's DK in my stash.
That's so bright.
Yeah. And such high contrast. I mean, it's really just to use up stash and bust out a sweater.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I have one of those whips that I showed in my shameful.
Did you finish it?
No. It's so close. Like I'm gonna knit it too short. It's again when I was saying I like to knit everything long. I was like very...
And you finished it too short, so you have to like...
I have to do some surgery on it. I think I'm just going to cut it off and pick up stitches, and because I have a full another skein.
Yeah.
And I was just so in love with knitting that sweater that I wanted it really... This is going to sound crazy, because I wanted it really, really bad. And so I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to finish it. And then I put it on and I was like, no. Yeah. And I have it, and it's been like 2 or 3 years, and I have not fixed it.
It is really addictive because of the stripes and these short rows that just like fly by.
Yeah.
And they're so cool looking. I felt very satisfied with myself. I used Japanese short rows just for fun.
That's fun.
Oh my gosh. I like to do different short row method every time I
really do need to fix mine, because there's another podcast I watched, the Inside Number 23 podcast with Katie, and she just finished one and wore it to, I think she did like a little yarn day out and wore it, and I was just like, I love this sweater.
Yes, just finish it.
And so now seeing yours too, I'm like, oh, okay, I really need to finish it. I need to really like make a list and like cross things off as I go, because
that would be satisfying.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I have some problems, I think.
Yeah. Do you have any, speaking of finishing projects, any finished objects?
I have one really small project. So I finished this hat. It's just a broken rib hat. So super, super simple. And I used Madelinetosh sock, and I held it double, so it went pretty quick. And I made this for my husband for his birthday, and he picked out the yarn for it this summer when we went to visit his parents. They just moved this past year to Reno, and so we went to Jimmy Bean's Wool while we were there. And I drug him and his mom with me, and so I let him pick out something for himself. So this is one of the like special colorways they did. Gosh, now I forget the name of the show, but it was for a Netflix show, and it's called Danger Will Robinson.
Oh, cool.
It's some like space show, I forget now.
Lost in Space?
Yeah.
That's where it's originally
from. I think that's from. Because they had Stranger Things yarn color names too, and so I liked the kind of limited thing. So that turned out really well. I think I need to block it because his head's giant, and so it fit him. It was just a little snug, and I think this yarn, because it's super wash, will stretch out a little bit. So, but yeah, that's that hat, and that's my only recent finished object.
I have a lot of recent finished objects, but I don't have them here because I've been doing a lot of sample knitting, so they've gone off with their new owners. Mm-hmm. So I finished 2 sweaters this summer. This sweater recently, a shawl, but those finished objects I brought aren't knitted because we recently went to Oregon Flock and Fiber Festival and came back with a lot of inspiration.
So fun.
And I took a class on rigid heddle weaving. So I brought my little knitted purse, because this is what we knit what we wove in class.
It's so hard to not say knit.
It is. Gotta get my...
I'll sew a dress. I'll be like, look at what I knit.
So I wove that on a rigid heddle loom and sewed it up. And the teacher had this cool rope maker. So this is my new like sewing bag. So it hangs on my...
So this is like the rope?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was really cool.
That's so cool.
So this now lives on my spinning machine.
Get it really close
spinning wheel.
while you talk about it.
Because it can hold all my like orifice hook and spinning notions.
There's sparkles in this. I love it.
So I'm really excited to keep experimenting with the rigid heddle.
That's so fun.
Yeah. I want to make like big wraps and like ponchos and stuff. And
that's we talked about classes and wanting to learn things at off, and I wanted to learn rug.
Oh yeah, rug
hooking or the punt. Well, I don't know even what I want to learn, but they have that class at Starlight.
Yeah, I'm taking it. Punch needle.
You are doing it? Okay, now I really have
I'm doing the Sunday class.
Oh, there's one on Sunday too.
Yeah.
Okay, I just saw it on Friday.
They added the Friday, so I'll see if there's still space on Sunday. But yeah, punch needle. That's another way to... Punch needle. The sharp one.
Yeah, because that looks so cool because you can do really cool designs.
Like, yeah, anything. And that's really cool because it uses worsted weight yarn. Or you can use any weight, but in the class we're going to use worsted weight.
It's going to be like where I think, oh, I can use some of my stash.
Yeah,
and then I buy
projects
more
where you
yarn
can
for
use
it.
stash that we keep acquiring.
I think I have enough stash that I could definitely do
Yeah.
some cool stuff with it. So
I also came back from Oregon Flock and Fiber really inspired to spin. So I've been spinning this yarn. This is a BFL, Blue Face Leicester.
BFL.
Yeah, it's so fun to spin, and I'm at about 200 yards of this, and I want to spin enough to make like most of a sweater, hopefully. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you posted on Instagram about your spinning.
So I've been spinning a lot, and I have a lot more of that wool to spin.
It's so cool.
And it's really kind of an instant gratification project, but I hadn't spun in almost a year. And after my first day of like spinning for hours, my calves were so sore. I have a double treadle Ashford kiwi, and my legs were so sore. I was like, I need to.
How long did you spin for?
A couple hours.
It's like spin class.
Yeah.
You're like, good one.
And I kept having these fantasies because I would take a break and knit, and I was having these fantasies of setting up a craft room, like a circuit gym, so like a spinning wheel.
I've got a glute exercise, like cutting patterns for sewing on the floor. That's my butt is
that
always...
would be one of the circuits, would be sewing, knitting, weaving, spinning.
Because I always do it on the floor so I can lay out the pattern pieces, and then I'm on my knees with my like rear elevated, and by the end my like hamstrings and my glutes are dying. So that would be a good one. I'm gonna do that later.
And we've both been sewing a lot recently, or intending to sew a lot.
I've got things I want to sew. I went to the new Modern Domestic shop just on the way to your house and picked up a pattern. I've got the Fen dress pattern that I'm gonna make, and I just bought some kind of cheap fabric at Joann to practice, and before I go back and get some nice stuff. So that'll be really fun. I'm also gonna make, which I think this is gonna be my get back into sewing project, because I haven't sewn and used my machine, I think it's been like 3 or 4 years. So I'm gonna make some like handkerchief,
cute
flannel handkerchiefs, like reusable tissues. Oh, it's upside down. This fabric is adorable. Oh no, now it's upside down. Oh, okay. Today I'm like all over the place. So this, I've had like 3 sips of that. So this has like polar bears and narwhals and walruses and penguins, and then I think I'm gonna do that on the back, like, and quilt it together. And then I have like a plain one. I mean, it's not plain, but it's more plain.
Yeah, that's a good winter project.
Yeah, I saw another person online doing that, so I was like, oh, that'll be good. And that's a really cheap little project because this stuff is so cheap at Joann. And but then I will use this for a long time versus the tissues. I mean, it's like the cost of 1 box of tissues, and I can use these for a while and just wash them and they'll be fine. Especially during cold and flu season. Get your flu shots. I did.
Me too.
That's good.
School teacher, hospital worker. Yeah. We are immune.
Oh, yeah. It's necessary being around all the kiddos.
Germ bags.
Yeah, it's a little snot monster.
Yeah.
They're pretty good though, because I teach kids who are old enough to, you know, have some hygiene skills, and so they are mostly good. Yeah, so I hope I don't get sick. I got sick last year and it was pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also got recently, I went to a needle workshop and got this little cross stitch project.
It's really cute. Did you do the one in your hallway?
No, so my mom does cross stitch, and so I have in my hallway here a cross stitch in a frame, a project, and she did one for my husband and I's wedding, but her eyesight's not super good, so she can't do as much as she does anymore, but she always had really amazing projects in our house when we were growing up, so she kind of taught me how to do it, and I really like doing cross stitch too, because it reminds me of like stranded knitting, or like, you know, you could make the charts for it. So I got this little ornament. I really like decorating for Christmas.
Oh, is it tiny?
It's kind of, it's, how what size is it? 4 inches by 4 inches.
That's tiny.
Yeah, it's small.
Crossword.
Yeah, so it's on like 30 count linen, which is 30 like stitches per inch. So that's, yeah, it is tiny, but it's got little sheep on it, so I'll enjoy it.
So it'll be cute.
I'll try to finish this by Christmas.
What else do you have in your, like, up to knit next? Your knitting queue.
My knitting queue. So I have so much stuff that I've bought recently. I've been on a little, like, shopping spree, I think.
We call them benders. I've totally been on a sweater quantity bender.
So I got, last weekend when I was working, I work at Knitting Bee, and my coworker Kelly and I have been planning doing like a Zweig knit along together. And so I finally got what I'm going to use for it. And I'm going to use this yarn as the main color of the body, which is Malabrigo sock in the Cereza colorway. And then I'm going to do this one as the lace and colorwork yoke, which is Hedgehog sock in cereal. And I'm so excited for this. I think this is going to be what I cast on next. Maybe. Well, yeah, probably. We planned on like trying to finish a few projects before starting, and I think we're both kind of like game to start anyways, but we'll see. I'll have to talk to her and we'll plan it out so that we can finish them together. But I think this is going to be good holiday colors too, so I'm excited about it. Do you have any things too?
Yeah,
I have more, but
I don't have the yarn with me, but I realized that my obsessive sweater knitting, the hole in my wardrobe is cardigans.
Yeah.
So, and cardigans really are the best thing for me to wear to work because I can just like regulate my own temperature, pull things off. So I want to make the Jennifer Steingrass Arbor sweater, which is the leaves.
Yeah.
And steek it. So that's going to be a fun project. And then I want to do the Timber sweater, which is by Shannon Cook, and it's got it's just like a cozy cardigan in worsted. So
wow, that one's cool. It's got cool texture, like kind of ribbing, right?
And I think those will be good cozy winter projects. I have knit 12 sweaters this year.
That's so good.
So
I think I'm at 5 or 6, which is unreal for me. I've knit so much more this year than I ever have, and I've done 2 shawls and like 4 hats already.
That's amazing. I've done like 1 shawl.
So I'm very excited about it. I think this year and next year will be good knitting years.
Yeah.
I also have the sweater quantity. I'm on the bender of buying sweater quantities. So Emmy helped me buy this and picked it up for me. I got a sweater quantity of Shelter in Long Johns.
It was a silent auction bid, and I knew Sam was gonna want it, so she was my secret buyer.
Yeah, I felt really official. Like I was like, ooh, I'm like that rich lady like calling in, like, please bid on the Shelter. So I think I'm gonna make a weekender by Andrea Mowry out of this because I've been wanting to knit that. And I've wanted to do it in the original colorway too, but I think it'll look really good in that.
Yeah.
I'm like, both of these red sweaters I'm like want by Christmas, and so now I've got a lot to knit.
The weekender is so fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I was like, well, maybe I won't cast that on and I'll do this first. But I really should finish like, my Brunswick and my breathing space and some other things maybe. But that's stockinette stitch, and then you turn it inside out, so that will be super fast.
Yeah. I knit my weekender in less than 3 weeks.
That's good.
Yeah.
I could do that. Because we were originally thinking of doing our Zweig starting on like Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh yeah.
So that would give me enough time to do it. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then Emmy also has got me more things. I'll just text her and be like, you need to find me these things and buy them and like deliver them to me. And then I just send her money. I got my holiday colorway version back. I just saw Rachel from Rachel Dyes post what this is actually like.
It's called Manzanita.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and this has a rose gold little.
It's so good.
It's so pretty. And so, oh my gosh, like seeing these things together, which are my most recent.
It's gonna be the best first project to use your knitting backpack for.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy, and that's why I buy sweater quantities. Because I'm just like, oh, that's gonna be so nice.
Well, and now that we both work at yarn stores, it's like we're never going back. You know? We have full-time jobs where we work 40-ish hours a week. Less for you because you're a teacher.
40-ish, yeah.
More for you because you're a teacher, less for me because I'm a manager and don't feel like working a lot. And then we get to be creative and work at yarn
fun.
stores.
I mean, yeah, and it's great. And I like when I get to help people pick stuff out. And I've had people come in. Recently I had a woman come in and she's like, I want to make this one sweater that just came out. And it's like I somehow knew she was talking about the Brunswick tea, and I was like, I know what you're talking about. And I'm like, I have it in the back. Can I show you? And so she picked out the same. She got salty tails in a different contrast. So I'm really excited to see how hers turns out. And then my customers come in, and I'm like, oh well, now I want to make what you're making.
Exactly. It's so inspiring to see what everyone's making, what everyone's doing.
It is fun. Yeah. And I only work, once a week, and then sometimes I have the weekend off, and so it'll be kind of weeks before I go back. So it's fun to see the people who come in always on Saturdays. Yeah.
Shaping young knitters' minds is also really fun when people are like, I'm new, what do I start with? And I'm like, yes, everything.
Ooh,
this is how you start.
That's so fun.
Yeah, so this weekend is also Rhinebeck. So we've been following a lot of people at Rhinebeck and feeling very jealous, planning for it. We'd love to go to Rhinebeck someday. I think we'd have most fun if we went together, so we'll plan it together.
I need a budget. Like I think I joke with my husband, like, okay, I have to budget for like the flight to get there, but then also the budget so I can like just spend a load on yarn and the budget to bring that suitcase
We
back.
can rent a van and just stay in the van, right? And then so we're not like car plus hotel rental.
I want to do an Airbnb, like one of those old houses there, like
in upstate New York where everything's just like charming.
Yeah,
Everything.
I heard someone say, like, if this doesn't look like the opening scene of Gilmore Girls, I think that was Amy Florence on Stranded.
Totally.
And because that's what it looks like. It's so gorgeous. I so want to go. But we were talking about kind of our bucket list or dream knitting kind of things that we'd want to do.
Yeah.
So that one's on there. I feel like most people want to go.
Yeah, and I feel like Rhinebeck's constantly where all the knitting stars are. So it's where the big names go.
You can fangirl there.
Yeah, so you can, and like looking at all the pictures, everyone wearing beautiful hand knits. Like it's.
Well, those pictures where they have meetups of the sweater meetups, so if you make a sweater, you can go find all the other people who were wearing that sweater, because the Rhinebeck sweater is a thing, the sweater you make to wear there, because most people want to show off, like, this stuff that they really like, and so there's so many pictures where people all made the same thing, and then the picture of them all together, and it's so cool.
So cool and so inspiring to see, like, different modifications and colorways and what everyone's doing.
I love the ones, there's, like, where you make a solid color sweater, but then everyone's color choice, they make, like, a rainbow underneath the big fall trees, and it's so cool. So I'm always, like, just trolling on Instagram, looking at the pictures. It was so good that I worked yesterday because I didn't just, like, get sucked into only looking at people's pictures. But yeah, this morning I definitely looked up and like opened it. I'm like, oh, it's so pretty.
Just looking at the hashtag Rhinebeck is like FOMO plus inspiration.
Yeah.
Plus like mental budgeting to start preparing now for us to go.
Yeah. I like, and I'll be looking forward to watching the Christy Glass Knits.
Yeah.
Because she does like a segment on all the Rhinebeck sweaters that tell me about your Rhinebeck sweater. And we got to see her tape episode of her podcast in the spring at Starlight, so that was really fun. So I'm excited to see her stuff from
that'll be fun. A good showcase of the beautiful sweaters.
Yeah.
Other festivals. What else would be a bucket list festival?
My like dream is to go to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, which is in March, and so I have to like really plan it out because it's hard for me to take time off nearer my school breaks, so it's like nearer spring break but not attached to spring break at all. But that would be so fun, and it's in Scotland, and I just feel like going there in like the winterish time would be so cool. And they have their Kaylee, which is like the big party beforehand on the I think it's the Friday, and there's like dancing and like drinks, and oh my gosh, that would be so fun.
And that would be such a fun festival to get like all the European non-American designers and yarns that you see.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a dream. That's a big one.
I could do it. I bet I could take,
it'd have
3
to be
days off. I don't know.
How many?
3? I don't know.
You'd have to take more, because you could do. We also talked about Reykjavik just being in the bucket list, and so you could do Scotland and Reykjavik.
Well, because you can do the stopover, to Iceland. My like diabolical plan was I was talking to Kevin and I said, oh, well, we could have a baby and I could take my maternity leave and we could go to Scotland in the same time period, which is totally nuts.
Yeah,
because
I feel like travel internationally with a baby.
No, I don't know. But it's so hard for me to take off work. Yeah. So I don't know how that would work.
Teachers get sabbaticals. You'll have to file for a sabbatical, right?
For the yarn festival, that'd be really hard.
Where you're learning.
I don't know.
Expanding your knowledge.
Yeah. I don't know what my idea there was, but it was like something, I'm going to make this work. Because I think Rhinebeck, I could take off. I would be really exhausted, but I could just fly the red eye on a Thursday night, take off the Friday of work, and then take off the Monday, because I've done that kind of trip to the East Coast before. And I'm very tired, but it's fun, because I flew to South Carolina like that, and I only took 2 days off work to go for a weekend.
That'd be an exhausting but rejuvenating weekend.
It would be really hard to work the day after, I think, because I'd be like, let me go back and knit all my yarn.
Yeah, you just want a day to like
swim in it. That's the other things I like about the people posting their hauls, because they're like, if like we went together, we could just lay out all the stuff we buy, and so it looks like this overwhelming sea of yarn,
enormous amount.
Yeah, because it's like all the people who team up and rent an Airbnb house or something, and so there'll be like 7 people and they have mountains and mountains of yarn, so it's really, I'm like, yes.
The only way to save for that kind of and like yarn budget and save money is to not buy yarn. So we would have to commit to not buying yarn.
Except for maybe for the sweater that you're going to wear.
Except for your Rhinebeck sweater. So I feel like if we make the goal of going next year, in January, we're going to be like, no buying yarn till Rhinebeck. But then think of all the wonderful things that happen here before then, like yarn crawl and off and black sheep gathering, like these local things where we end up spending a lot of money
yarn diet. Yeah, that would, I mean, so it's so easy for me to now be like, oh, I have this extra little tiny part-time job and I can just use that money to spend on the yarn, like literally just buying it back at Knitting Bee. Because I was like, oh, well, if I really did save my money for a year from just working on Saturdays, I could go to Rhinebeck probably.
Yeah, we'll need to, a support group, like a yarn diet support group. Like, hi, my name is Emmy, and I'm trying not to buy yarn.
Is that... Yeah, that's...
and I'm a sucker for Ravelry D-Stash. If there's a sweater quantity of a yarn I've been wanting to try, I'm gonna buy it.
She sends me D-Stashes now, like this week. Would you like this?
I have zero self-control, so I send my friends who also have no self-control yarn that I'm like, I don't need this, but I think you might.
She sent me one this week and I was like, oh, I literally bought a sweater quantity yesterday, so I don't think I can do that. I'll put it in my favorites for later, because I have one coming tomorrow, so I'm figure that out. I know what I'm gonna make with it though, but this is also the kind of my problem is I always buy sweater quantities with something in mind, and then a new pattern comes out and it's like this shiny new thing, and then I buy another sweater quantity because I'm like, well, that one is my blank. It's still in the yarn. I don't know. And so I bought this really pretty, like, mauvey pink yarn, and I'm gonna make the vodka straight up cardigan by Thea Coleman. Yeah, it's just it's like a really simple cardigan with like garter ridges on the bottom. And I saw the sample of it at Yarn Crawl one year, and I took a picture of it, and I remember that one I liked because it's originally in the Yarn on the House yarn. It's so pretty. And I need more cardigans too, like you said. That's kind of the hole in my wardrobe. And I think I have like the idea that if I knit some cool cardigans, then I can sew a cute dress to put underneath it and match them and be really cute. Like I really want to do that for the holidays. I really want to make like a plaid dress and match like with my sweater. It would be so
That's
good.
doable. Totally
Yeah,
doable.
with the Weekender yarn, I could do like a really cool like red tartan green.
Yeah.
Like, or I could do green and it'll be really Christmassy. It'll be really cute.
You could do it like, because the Weekender sweater's full length, so I've been sewing a lot of the gypsum skirt, the one that has by Sew Liberated that has the big old pockets on the side. It's so flattering.
Yeah.
And I just sewed one with my friend from Starlight. Like it took us a month to get together to do it, but it's a really good skirt and it's a good wardrobe staple.
I've been looking at that one. Yeah, I like that. I really want to get enough sewing things so that I have like kind of my wardrobe of hand knits, and because I definitely have the wardrobe of like the knitted stuff, but I need the sewn things to go under my sweaters or like, you know, my layers.
Just to have a handmade wardrobe.
Well,
so
especially like in summer too, because I really do like knitting with like Shelter or like other worsted weight yarns, and it's like finally sweater weather. Like I can wear this in my house and still feel okay. My house is really cold, but and I'm like, I need hand knit socks now because I've the like wood laminate floors and they're cold. So I have slippers, but I'm like, hey, socks. Yeah. But I have to finish my ones that I got cranked on the sock machine.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this.
I put a rule on those because I'm like, oh, let's pick out the next skeins I'm going to send away to get cranked up. And I'm like, okay, I have to put the heels in them before I send any more. Yeah, I'm like two tubes at a time, and they have to be finished before I send them away, because she was really fast, so it's not like I'd be waiting or anything. So I have to put rules on that. But I don't like knitting. I mean, I like knitting socks, okay, but I like knitting sweaters. I don't want to. I'm not really dreaming of sock knitting very much.
Yeah. No, and I have a ton of sock yarn, so I'm probably going to send it away to get cranked.
Yeah. It was amazing. Yeah, so maybe I'll put her link in the box below, because it was on Etsy and it was really amazing. And it was a woman I've met before in Oregon,
cool.
I think.
Is she local?
She's like I've seen her at Stash, and I kind of followed a bunch of the like regulars at Stash or people who go there. I think she might have been at Knit Night there or something, which is how I found her. But she's like somewhere in the central Willamette Valley.
Awesome. Yeah, share that link and let's all make a bunch of socks.
She's awesome. And she dyes yarn too, so her yarn is really, really cool, and you could probably just buy a skein and have her crank it into socks before she sends it to you, which I think I'm going to do too sometime.
We say cranking, but there's like circular sock knitting machines, and they just crank out sock tubes and you do an afterthought heel and cut. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, you should look it up, because I mean, the sock machines are expensive on their own, but it's so fast, because then I mean, it's still like with your beautiful indie dyed wool if you want to use that, and then so it's still like a handmade sock, and you do the toes and the heels and the cuff, and that's not a lot of knitting, so I have my tubes I need to do, because now my feet are cold. Yeah.
So we have a big winter to-do list, and we hope that you do too and can tell us what you're knitting. So let's join us on Ravelry. We'll start some conversation. What are you knitting for winter? What are your winter goals? And you can tell us on Instagram, on YouTube. We love hearing from you. Really, thank you to all of the people who are watching us and giving us comments. Yeah. It's good motivation to keep us going, because it's not easy, because don't you think? Like, it's not that easy to do a podcast.
No, I mean, once you get into it, it's not bad. But I've been wanting to podcast for literally years and years and years, and then it's so much easier with a friend to do it, because then I'm not just staring at myself talking.
So I guess the hard part is picking times when we both have availability.
I mean, it's hard with, that's like the plus side of it, is that we can talk to each other and it's so much more natural and fun. But the hard thing is we are two busy people with separate schedules, so it's good to get together and figure out when we're making the podcast.
Yeah, so you'll see us soon, and again, follow us on Instagram, Stitch and Stir, find us on Ravelry, and join the conversation. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.